what up, boxing fans, and welcome back to the Saved by the Bell podcast with my co-host H and myself, Dark Side of the Moon. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the boxing that's happened over the weekend in Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, and Gilberto Ramirez versus Chris Billam Smith. We're also going to be covering some fights that's upcoming on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, we've got Harlem Eubank versus Nurali Erdogan. On Saturday, we've got Cameron Vong versus Gavin Gwynn. And the big one on Saturday is Sonny Edwards versus Gilberto. But before we get into all of that, H, how you doing, my bro? And did you enjoy the boxing over the weekend?
Darkside, thank you for asking me how I'm doing. I'm doing great. You know, the boxing over the weekend, wow. I enjoyed it. That's all I can say. I enjoyed every single bit of it. You know, the controversy, the drama, the action. It was a whole mixture of so many different things packed into one event, and I enjoyed it. That's just the Mike Tyson event, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul event. Of course, CSB versus Gilberto. That was absolute a blockbuster of a fight. Wow. I mean, where should we start? Should we kick things off with the Mike Tyson one?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go with Mike Tyson.
Let's go with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Listen, we're going straight there. I'm gonna ask you, what was your thoughts on this fight?
My thoughts on this fight were, to be honest, it was quite sad to watch.
Sad. It was sad.
It was a very sad spectacle. I think most people could tell by about round 2 or round 3 it was going to go pretty bad for Mike in the end, which it did. What I would say on a more positive note is Mike was pretty good at slipping some of those shots. He slipped quite a lot of those shots, and that's what I would take away for Mike as a positive. But if I'm being honest, it was a sad spectacle to see. On the other hand, Jake Paul, I would say, you know, Jake does what Jake normally does. He didn't do anything differently to what he normally does. And the reality is I think most people went with their hearts like we did, but most people didn't know that, you know, the age factor was a massive factor in there. And if Mike couldn't get him out of there in a couple of rounds, then it was going to be trouble. And that was exactly what it was. So for Jake Paul now, he's going to have to move on to different things. I don't know where he goes exactly for him now. Maybe a fight with KSI, because I know he's looking for a popularity fight. So maybe that's an option for him. But as far as Mike Tyson goes, personally, I would like to see him hang up the gloves and not do that again. I really want to see him get hurt anymore. But my question to you is, what did you think about the fight? What was your sort of thoughts on the fight?
Initially, when this fight first got announced between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, I was like, really? I mean, Mike is 57 years old at the time when it first got announced. And then, you know how it goes. When the train starts rolling, you hop on the train. So I hopped on the train, and I was on the train with everybody else. And as the fight was building up, as the drama was intensifying, I was excited. I was like, you know what? Why not? The legend of the sport, Iron Mike Tyson. Let me see him. Let me see what he's got to bring at 58 years of age. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure every single one of us saw the clips online, on the pads, on the bags of him training out. He looked like a beast. I was like, oh my God, 58 years old. How is he moving this quick? How is he moving that fast? What's going on here? And then, of course, he got ill, violently ill. He recovered. Fight got postponed. It kind of deaded the hype for a little moment, and then it got rebuilt again. I mean, this is a business, isn't it? It's a business. This fight here was a business fight. So of course, the way they built it back up is they know what they was doing. They know what they was doing to build up the hype again. Anyways, long story short, let's get onto the actual night. Damn, you know, seeing Tyson enter the Dallas stadium, I don't know. I didn't see Iron Mike Tyson. I saw a 58-year-old man.
Yeah.
And a 58-year-old man that wasn't looking confident. Do you know what I mean? Even to the point where Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis came in the locker room and it was quiet. The room was silent. Awkwardness, loads of awkwardness. And then Tyson said to Lennox Lewis, talk to me, tell me something. And the way I interpreted it was, yo, give me some advice and give me some tips. You get me? Tell me something. Give me a booster. Give me some confidence. When have you ever heard Mike Tyson in the locker room ask anyone for any advice? Never in history.
Never.
And now he's going against a man that's 30 years younger than him, in his prime, in the best condition, Jake Paul, and he's asking Lennox Lewis, give me some advice, give me some tips. And then we saw him walk to the ring, and I don't know, I didn't see any confidence, I didn't see any aura. Do you know what I mean? I just saw a 58-year-old man who's in a little bit of shape, you know what I mean? And then the fight itself, wow, sad. That's all I can say, sad. I mean, round one, Tyson came out fast. I was thinking, okay, maybe he's going to make me eat my words. Okay. But then after round one, it just went downhill. And at that moment in time, that's when I realized, oh, damn, Mike Tyson is 58 years old. That's when it really sunk in. Before that, I was under a magic spell. Woohoo, Mike Tyson, hey. And then as soon as the first round got over and done with, that's when I realized the magic spell wore off. And I was like, oh, damn, Tyson is 58 years old. And you know what, to be fair, at 58, he dodged a lot of Jake Paul's punches.
Yeah.
He slipped a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? He still had that peekaboo style, you know what I mean? And I feel like, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I feel like Jake Paul didn't go full throttle. Now, as we saw in round 3, Jake Paul wobbled Tyson. You know what I mean? He wobbled Tyson. Let's not lie to ourselves. Tyson was wobbled. You know what I mean? He didn't know what was going on. He got hit with, I think it was a jab or something, and he got wobbled. And at that moment in time, Jake Paul could have gone in and absolutely destroyed Tyson. But obviously, Jake Paul is a businessman. First and foremost, before he's a boxer, he's a businessman. So I personally believe Jake Paul did not go full throttle because let's get one thing right. Jake Paul is the most hated athlete in the world.
Yeah.
And he is most definitely the most hated boxer in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So imagine if he went full blast and absolutely knocked out Mike Tyson. Wow, it's not a good look. I don't think a lot of people would want to work with him after that. Do you know what I mean? So I believe he held back a little bit. You know what I mean? He held back a little bit. Listen, what do I make of the fight? It's sad to see Tyson go out like that. Do you know what I mean? We've seen Tyson indestructible, Iron Mike Tyson, youngest heavyweight champion in history, undisputed champ. That's what we know Tyson for. Yeah. But seeing him go out like that, it was sad. But do I feel sorry for Mike Tyson? No, I don't, because Mike Tyson ultimately is a grown man. Mike Tyson knows what he's doing. Mike Tyson knew what he signed up for. And Mike Tyson wanted to prove to himself and the world that he still got it in him. And I believe to some extent he still does. Because for a 58-year-old man to go into training like that and to even go step into the ring with someone 30 years younger than him, it's a big step, do you know what I mean? But ultimately, the only thing that I can say I'm happy for Mike Tyson is that he came out of the fight healthy, uninjured, and most importantly, man got paid $20 million, G.
Cha-ching! That's the main thing, bro.
The man got paid $20 million. Come on, G. 2 minute 8 rounds. $20 million. Come on, bro. Do you get me?
Perfect, man. Definitely.
Come on, bro. You get me? I'll be 65 and you can get me in the ring. Give me that money. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man. What's next for Mike Tyson? I agree with what you said, Dark Side. Retirement is the time. You know what I mean? You have to understand, yeah, boxing is a young man's sport. You know what I mean? I mean, you could be 58 and go cycling, golfing. You can be 58 and do, I don't know, gym, lifting. But combat sports where you're getting hit, especially boxing, we know boxing is the most dangerous combat sport out there. Yeah. You're constantly getting blows to your head, constantly getting absolutely hammered in your head. So for Mike Tyson, I think he should retire. He ain't got nothing to prove. And he's just made the biggest bag in a long time, 20 million for what? Do you know what I mean? For Jake Paul now, the options are endless. Many people are calling him out. I see Bitebiev called him out. Tony Bellews called him out. Carl Froch has called him out. Wow, the list goes on and on and on. But we have to understand, Jake Paul is not a professional boxer.
Yeah.
He's a businessman. He's a con man. Yeah, I always say he's a con man, but he is semi-conning the peoples because he's making the peoples believe he's something special, but he's fighting people who are retired. He's handpicking who's got picked. Do you know what I mean? I believe if he's gonna fight people who are retired combat sports athletes, at least let the retirement time be at least 5 to 10 years, bro. Do you know what I mean? Not 30 years, 20 years. At least, let's say, why don't you go fight David Hay? Why don't you go fight Tony Bellew? Do you know what I mean? Why don't you go fight Carl Froch? Why don't you go fight someone in that sort of range? I mean, all these guys are retired, but they're still ready to get in the ring. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think Jake Paul will take that. If the next biggest fight for Jake Paul regarding influencer boxing, money fight, the biggest fight me and you both know is KSI.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that fight might even bring in more than what it brought in with Mike Tyson. Because KSI is a global superstar. You have to think about it, yeah? To sell tickets, to sell fights, it's a popularity game.
Yeah, it's true.
And KSI and Jake Paul are the most famous influencers in the world.
Yeah.
Massive amount of following. So if these two came together, wow, it will be absolutely crazy.
It would be a monster event that I would definitely look forward to. But then you have to ask yourself the question, when that fight happens, because I believe Jake will most probably win that fight against KSI, where does Jake go from then? Because he keeps talking about having boxing aspirations. He wants to go on and be a world champion. Well, if you want to be a world champion, then you need to enter the professional boxing ranks and start fighting ranked opponents until you work your way up to becoming champion. And I personally don't believe Jake Paul can become champion. No. I'd like to see him try. I think it would be interesting if he said, look, I've done everything else I can do. Let's go into professional boxing now and give it a go. I'll enter the ranks. I will actually start giving him more credit for that, because that's showing you're truly dedicating yourself to really being a boxer. Because most of the people he's fought in his careers are either much older than him, retired fighters, or people who don't have any boxing background at all.
Yeah.
So it's one of them ones. Jake Paul's got a lot of options right now. There's going to be a lot of people who want to fight Jake Paul now, especially because he just beat Mike Tyson, and people won't be happy about that.
Yeah.
We have to wait and see what the future holds. But I think it's very likely that Jake Paul KSI fight will be the next one.
I've even heard Jake Paul say he wants to be training for the USA Olympics team for the next boxing for the Olympics. And I was like, this guy's lost it. But anyways, enough of Jake Paul, enough of Mike Tyson. Let's move on to Kate Taylor, Amanda Serrano, the rematch. Wow. First of all, before we get into any details, before we get into any sort of controversial talk, we got to lay the facts out. Absolute blockbuster fight. Both of these women went toe-to-toe from round 1 up until the last round. Absolute fireworks. I can't lie to you. This might even be the fight of the year. This might even be the fight of the year 2024. Do you know what I mean? Katie Taylor, absolute warrior. Amanda Serrano, the GOAT.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you quickly, what was your thoughts on the rematch?
I have a lot of thoughts on the rematch because, as you'll know, there was a lot of controversy. A lot of people as well had problems with the Netflix, which I experienced myself, missing out on 2 or 3 rounds of the fight. Yeah. So, being fully honest, I can't give you an honest answer of who I actually thought won the fight. But just looking at the fight for what it was a fantastic fight. Both guys were throwing hell for leather. both landing serious shots, landing combinations, landing counter punches, and it was an absolutely fantastic spectacle to watch.
Yeah.
Side of the controversy that I want to talk about, a lot of people, there's two things. A lot of people were talking about the scorecards, the fact that Katie Taylor won the fight. And a lot of people thought that Amanda Serrano won the fight. Now, I didn't get to see all of the rounds, but the rounds that I did see, I had Amanda Serrano winning the fight, which also leads to the next thing. Katie Taylor had a point deducted for head clashes, which wasn't a head clash during the fight, which was the other point of controversy, because in fights that sometimes with a head clash and a cut that's that bad, sometimes the fights can be stopped and they can have the judges' scorecards at that point. So I think there's definitely a lot of talking points to think about when it comes to this fight. The main talking point for me has to be the fact that Katie Taylor won on all three judges' scorecards. Just that when you look at the social world, it seems everyone seems to have Amanda winning. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but it's very unusual for three judges to give the same result, and we have to sort of question and wonder why this has happened. But I don't know, what's your thoughts on the controversy around the fight?
Hey, listen, you just mentioned a great fact about the judges all unanimously scoring to in favor for Katie Taylor. But obviously, me and you are both not judges. You know what I mean? We don't know how they score fights. We're not experts. We're not pros. We're just two guys who love boxing. Now, I mean, I don't know. I find it quite strange because the judges all were in favor for Katie Taylor, even though Amanda Serrano landed 107 more punches than Katie Taylor did on Amanda Serrano. Even though Katie Taylor got a point deducted for a headbutt. In the first round, we saw Amanda Serrano rock Katie Taylor and almost got saved by the bell.
Yeah.
So with all these 3 points that I've just made, and still the judges were all in unanimous favor for Katie Taylor. How? Like, at least one judge should have gave it to Amanda Serrano. You know what I mean? How can all three judges score it to Katie Taylor? You know what I mean? And you have to understand as well, the cut that Amanda Serrano received through unintentional or intentional headbutts, whichever one it was a nasty cut, right? That was deep. And for her to go and continue fighting the way she did, that's crazy. That's
absolute warrior.
Absolute warrior. And you saw the way it was like it was hanging off. It was almost hanging off. And every time she went back to the corner, the cutman was squeezing the ice, literally squeezing it back, and he was putting that Vaseline over and squeezing it, squeezing the shot. And she kept going. She kept going. I mean, listen, I don't want to talk about the controversy too much because I don't want to ruin the actual fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was a great fight.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at what women have achieved in the sport of boxing. This is the highest level women's boxing has been.
Yeah.
This is the highest level. There hasn't been a higher level than this. So these women have already broken records. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, first fight, headlining Madison Square Garden, never been done before. Both got paid $1 million each. Second fight, they fought it's the first time Netflix has done this, by the way, live streaming. And these two females were the first to be on the biggest streaming platform, which is Netflix, and they're the first to fight on Netflix. So they've already got the names in the history books written already.
Exactly.
Do you get me? And they both got paid $6 million each in the rematch. So you see, they've made a lot of history. They made a lot of noise, regardless of the controversy, the first fight controversy, the second fight controversy. Listen, we got to move on with times, innit? We can't argue. This is literally a 50-50 fan base split. Amanda Serrano fans are saying she got robbed. Katie Taylor fans are saying she didn't get robbed. It's just literally two fans going at it, and it's 50-50. It's literally split in the middle.
Yeah.
But me, I enjoyed it. Should they go for a trilogy? I don't believe so. I think 2 fights is enough. It was great. It was epic. It's time to move on. For Amanda Serrano, I want to see Amanda Serrano face Sky Nicholson next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fantastic fight.
It's time for Amanda Serrano to become an undisputed champ in her division. Get the belt off Sky Nicholson, or maybe Sky Nicholson takes the belt off Amanda Serrano. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? But yes, that's what I believe. It's time for this chapter for Kate Taylor and Amanda Serrano to close. It's come to an end in my eyes. It was epic. It was great. Can it be done again by other female boxers? Oh, it's gonna be a hard one to do that, you know. But anyway, that's my thoughts. What's your final thoughts on this, bruv?
My final thoughts on this was it was a fantastic fight. I do agree with you that I think it should be a closed chapter now. I know we had controversy in the first and in the second fights. One thing I will say is Katie Taylor did straight away give her an option for a third fight, which I think is a very gracious thing to do, because most people, you know, you have 2 fights as a champion, you beat them twice. Some will just go on and move on to the next thing. She's giving her an opportunity.
Yeah.
And, you know, all I can say is if a third fight does materialize, it's going to be great boxing, and it's also going to make them even more money. So
hey, they might even have a third fight in Riyadh season. Turkey O'Shea gets involved.
Exactly. So you never know what's going to happen in the future. But I actually agree with you. I think Amanda should go and try and become undisputed in her weight class. Go and fight Sky Nicholson, because I think that would be a great fight. Yeah. For Katie Taylor, I don't know what more to say about Katie Taylor. I feel like she's almost, you know, she's 38 years old now. I mean, she's pretty much the end of her career. She's done everything that she can pretty much do.
Yeah.
You know, there are some other names in the division who she can go and fight, but she's pretty much reached the pinnacle with Amanda Serrano. It's not going to get any bigger than that. So she may even consider hanging up her gloves sometime soon. So we just got to appreciate these 2 warriors in this fight, and on to bigger and better things for both ladies in the future.
Most definitely. Moving forward, let's talk about Mario Barrios versus Ramos. Ooh, you know what?
Fight.
I didn't expect this firework. I didn't expect this type of level of competition. Oh man, this was the fight of the night. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was the fight of the night. It was absolute action-packed back and forth. It was like a movie script. You don't know which way it was gonna go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is Mario Barrios gonna win, or is Ramos gonna win? Which way is it going? I mean, you saw in the opening round 1, Mario Barrios dropped. Well, officially didn't drop him.
It was a kind
of because his touch, Ramos's glove touched the canvas, so that's technically a knockdown, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, it wasn't classed as a knockdown. But in my eyes, it was a knockdown.
Yeah.
Round 2 was an official knockdown. Do you know what I mean?
Down.
And then round 6, the tables got turned. Oh my god, the tables got turned 360. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie to you, that fight was absolute a crack of a fight. And all I can say was, damn, I didn't expect that. But let me ask you your thoughts on this fight, bruv.
Well, my thoughts on the fight were, is Mario Barrios, he's moved up in weight, because you may remember that he fought Tank Davis a while back, but that was a much lower weight class. So he's moved up in weight class to see how he's going to do, and I feel like he does look a lot better. But overall, again, it was so explosive. I was not expecting, like, we didn't actually cover in episode 1 because we didn't think it was going to be such a great fight.
Yeah.
This was explosive, and you've got to appreciate when you have a competitive fight. It looked like in rounds 1 and 2 that Ramos was going to have no chance against Barrios.
Yeah.
It's going to end a matter of rounds, and then Barrios just Ramos just fought back harder and harder and harder, and eventually got a knockdown on Barrios, and that made the fight somewhat, it wasn't even, but it was almost closer and leveled up.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mario Barrios, he did what he normally does and dictated the pace with his jab, kept him at range, and put in a fantastic performance. So congratulations to both guys, I'll say. Even though Ramos didn't win the fight, it was It was an absolutely fantastic spectacle, and I think a lot of people would probably like to see it. Of course, Barrios would say, I want to go on to bigger and better things, and I can understand that, being as he's the champion. But I think the fans would love to see a rematch on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after having a draw decision, you gotta have it. You gotta run it back. You gotta run it back. Do you know what I mean? And now that the fans have tasted what the first fight was like, imagine the rematch. Oh wow, oh wow. It's only gonna be bigger and better. You know what I'm trying to say? The welterweight division. Who knows? Is it coming back to his golden days? Yeah, who knows? Who knows if they continue fighting like that? Yeah, definitely. But no, I enjoyed the fight though. I honestly did enjoy the fight. I do feel like Mario Barrios, he does find it a bit difficult when he fights shorter fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For prime example, Tank Davis.
Yeah.
He found it a bit difficult in the later rounds. You know what I mean? At first, when he came out, he was confident, and then Tank got his confidence up, and the table changed. And you saw the exact same thing with the Mario Barrios and the Ramos fight.
Yeah.
First, round 1 to round 4, 5, 6, it was Mario Barrios, his confidence high. Then Ramos' confidence came up, and the tables turned. Exact same sort of fight. Do you know what I mean? But you know what? I would love to see it back. Listen, if they do run it back, you best believe I'm gonna put my money this time. I'm gonna put my money on someone this time. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man.
Yes. All right, my bro. So let's move on to now. Yeah. I mean, one of our own. You get me? Let's move on to one of our own now. Yeah. CSB, Chris Billam Smith. You know what I mean? Damn. We knew it was gonna be a hard fight.
Yeah.
We knew Chris Billam Smith was stepping up the ladder to face an opponent that's experienced, that's got the IQ, power, that's basically got it all. Do you know what I mean? He's got the whole package. We knew it was going to be hard, and boy, it was hard. But you know what? It wasn't so one-sided as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same.
I would have thought CSB would have got a bit more battered than what he actually did get battered. Do you know what I mean? If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But these two guys, big guys, bro. Every single punch that was getting thrown, I had doof, doof, doof.
Yeah, you could hear that.
You could hear it. And I was like, damn, these are two big guys, and they're throwing absolute haymakers, bomb after bomb. But you know what though? You gotta give CSB some credit, you know what I mean? Even though he didn't get the victory, you gotta give him some credit. The boy's got heart. He stood there, toe to toe. At times I thought, oh my God, that's it, it's lights out. He's wobbled. But CSB stood there, stood on his toes, and he banged it out, you know what I mean, with one of the elites. You know what I mean? You gotta give it to him, one of the elites. Zordo is not a name to be played with. No. He's one of the elites. And now that he's a unified champion, damn, I mean, it's Jaya Pattaya next for Zordo, you know what I mean? It's only right. Me personally, I would have this is the fight that makes sense. Zordo versus Jaya Pattaya, because I feel like it'll be a good fight. It'll be an epic fight, hard fight. But if it was CSB versus Jaya Pattaya, it'll be an absolute whitewash. I feel like Jaya Pattaya would absolutely smoke the boots out of CSB. So I'm kind of glad that it's Zordo versus Jaya Pattaya instead of CSB versus Jaya Pattaya, if that kind of makes sense. But let me quickly ask you, brother Ross, what was your thought on this fight here?
Well, my thoughts on the fight were, I thought it was an excellent fight. It was somewhat back and forth at times, although if you look at the whole fight as a whole, you can see that it was dominated by Gilberto Ramirez. We talked about this in the first episode, and we were saying, which fighter do we give respect to now after this fight? And I'm going to come out there and say it. I give respect to both fighters. And for different reasons. I give respect to Gilberto Ramirez because he put on a fantastic display, a great technical display with great counter punching. And, of course, because he got the victory. But for Chris Smith, I give him a lot of respect for two things. You got to respect that chin. The man took some vicious counter shots and did not go down. The other thing I've got to respect is his heart. This man has so much heart. He just kept going till the very end. If I'm being honest, as we had our predictions before, for me, it was quite obvious that Zordo was definitely the better fighter, technical fighter. And that's why I predicted him to win against Chris Billam-Smith. Like you said, for Gilberto Ramirez, he's on to bigger and better things with Jai Opataya, and I actually prefer that as a fight because I think it's a better clash of styles. It's going to be more of an explosive fight with two guys that hold massive power, explosive punches. So that's going to be a great fight in the future. For Chris Billam-Smith, I guess it's back to the drawing board. I mean, he's going to go look at the video, look at what mistakes he made, and the mistakes I will say he made was the obvious one that stood out to me is that I even noticed his corner team were not telling him in between rounds, use your jab. Use your jab to work your way in. Use your jab to set up the combinations. Use your jab. He was not being told to use his jab and did not use his jab nowhere near as effectively as he could have done. And I believe that that would have been a much closer fight had he used his jab. It might have been even a 50-50-ish type of fight. But I guess he's going to have to go to the drawing board, look at that, and then line up a few opponents that he can get himself back into the mix with.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I was surprised that Shane is a very smart trainer.
Yeah, he is.
He's not your average Joe that's on TikTok or Instagram making things look good. He actually is a very good trainer. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at it. Just look at who he has had in his team. He had oh my God, what's his name? Danny Dubois. He had Danny Dubois. He's got the Azim brothers. He's got Caroline Dubois. He's got CSB. Do you know what I mean? He's got a good little roster.
Yeah,
and you don't have a good roster if you're just the average Joe. You know what I mean? You got to be somewhat of a good trainer. And I believe Shane is a good trainer. But in this fight, I was like, why is this guy not telling Chris to use his jab? Use the jab. Use the jab. Stop Zerdo. You know what I mean? Just use the jab. Just use it. You know what I mean? Just set up punches. Throw a couple of jabs. Set up the right. There was none of that. And I was like, why? What's the game plan here? Why is no one telling CSB to use his jab? Is it because he was tired? Is it because... But I don't understand. The jab... I reckon if he used the jab effectively, this fight would have been different. Do you know what I mean? Because if you saw the way they was fighting, Zordo was... He was always positioned in a way for him to get hit with a jab and a cross.
Yeah.
When it came to hooks, he was covered. But when it came to straight jabs and crosses, and if that was used effectively by CSB, it would have been a different kind of story.
Absolutely.
But you know what? Even Zerdo, the guy there can punch from different angles, you know? You saw the way he was punching from different angles. I was like, oh my God, how did he get it from that angle? And he still got...
Turn it.
But like you said, for CSB, back to the drawing board, I'm sure he's going to sit down with Shane. I'm sure he's going to sit down with his family and see what's next for him. Because I'm sure retirement is not in the in the name. You know what I mean? So I'm sure he's going to go back, sit down, see what the next option is. Do you know what I mean? And same thing for Zerdo. I mean, of course, he's going to be facing Jai Opataya next, but he may not. He may not. We never know. But of course, it's not mandatory. But of course, Jai Opataya is next. Hopefully, he takes that fight, and hopefully, we get an undisputed cruiserweight champion very soon.
That would be what all the boxing fans have been longing for. The last one being Usyk. It wasn't that long ago, but it was still to have another active cruiserweight champion in the division.
These cruiserweight guys better get their game on, because I'm hearing rumors that Usyk wants to come back to the cruiserweight division.
I have heard that.
So these guys better get their game on and become undisputed before Usyk comes back.
That would be crazy. Imagine Usyk comes back to be a 2-time cruiserweight undisputed and heavyweight champion. That would be crazy, bro.
That would be crazy. But you know what? His body frame, his style suits the cruiserweight division more than the heavyweight division.
It does. But he can handle the heavyweight division as well.
Yeah, he can.
Lucky, bro. There's not many like him.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Okay, so that's a wrap on the weekend that's just happened. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. Even though I stayed up to like 4 or 5 a.m. for the flipping Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, you know what? I say it was worth it. The whole atmosphere, the vibes, the celebrities, the guests, the hosts, you know, ex-boxers, pro boxers. It was just a whole lot entertainment. And of course, the fights itself, I enjoyed it. CSB, sad, but I'm sure he'll be back. Zerdo, moving on to Jaya Pataya. We're going to see great fights. Boxing is on fire. I'm sure I said this to you right at the start of the year. This is the year for combat sports, and this is the year for boxing especially. And listen, with Turkey or Sheikh back in the game, Turkey or Sheikh in the game, sorry, we're back on top. Boxing is back to its glory days. Or maybe even better, because there's more money in boxing now than ever.
Yeah, more money and also more social media, so more people are watching.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, my guy, that's a wrap for the weekend. What's going on, my people? We've got one of our own, Harlem Eubank, is going to be in action this Friday, which is going to be the 22nd of November, 2024, to be precise. And he's going to be facing a Turkish fighter who is based in France, Nurali Erdogan. These foreign names, Ross. It's fucking hard to get these names right, isn't it? But anyways,
let's Erdogan, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Nurali. Anyways, now we're gonna try to keep this one short and brief.
Yeah.
But with as much information. So for the fans who don't know, Harlem Eubank is the son of the legendary Chris Eubank Sr. His brother is Chris Eubank Jr. And you know, you get the drift. The old boxers, they come from a boxing family. You get the drift. Harlem Eubank's record, 19 wins, only 8 coming via KO. His biggest fight was supposed to be against Adam Azim. Now, they both signed the contracts. They were both ready to get cracking. That was supposed to be Adam Azim's biggest fight, and it was supposed to be Harlem Eubank's biggest fight. And the fight fell apart when Adam Azim went for a jog, and his foot got stuck in a pothole or something, and he twisted his ankle. Damn, bro, what a way to go out, right? And then that fight got cancelled for that reason there. And then I don't know why the fight never got made after that. I think Adam Azim was saying that Harlem Eubank don't want it with him. Harlem Eubank ain't ready for him. Blah, blah, blah. You know how it go. You know how these boxers and the egos, you know what I mean? So Adam Azim was basically saying Harlem Eubank don't want it. Harlem Eubank was saying, hey, like, you guys are wasting my time. I'm 31 years of age. I ain't got time to waste. Do you know what I mean? I ain't got time to wait around for injuries. You know, injuries. So who knows? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? But I would love to see that fight take place. Adam Azim did say, listen, whether it's now, whether it's later on, this fight is going to take place. Me and Harlem are going to get it cracking, regardless of what it is. And that's a good sign. That's a good sign. So depending on this outcome of this fight between Harlem and Raleigh, I believe Adam Azim will keep a close eye on this fight, because Adam Azim is adamant that he wants this fight. He wants to fight Harlem. Do you know what I mean? He wants to fight the Eubank name. I mean, let's be real. It's a big name, the Eubanks. You know what I mean? Maybe not so much overseas, but for British, it's a big name. The Eubank name is very big in Britain. And of course, who don't want to fight the Eubanks? Do you know what I mean? Who don't want to fight them? Come on, bro. As soon as you put the Eubank name in the title, in the bracket, your views are gonna go up. The algorithm is going up. You know what I mean? So that's that. Obviously, 147-pound division, Harlem Eubank. Is he gonna? I don't know. You know, I don't see him being world level, because you got some killers. You got some killers in the 147 division right now. Let me just name a few. Mario Barrios. You've got Conor Ben. You've got Ramos. You've got, of course, Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, do I believe Harlem Eubank has the skill set to beat any of these guys? Hell no.
No.
Is Harlem Eubank a big puncher? No. Is he technically great? No. When he puts his foot on the offensive, I feel like he does okay. Do you know what I mean? He's got, but one thing I would say, he has a very good counter left hook and counter right hook. Very good. It's like a cheeky one. I do give him that. His opponent now, on the other hand, bruv, it's very hard to do a video on someone that's fairly unknown. Do you know what I mean? His opponent, Nurali, has only got 16 wins, only one coming via KO, and he's got 3 losses on his resume. He is 27 years of age. Man's got about 28,000 followers on Instagram, and that's about it. So in other words, you would say, who the fuck is that guy? In Conor McGregor's words, that's Conor McGregor's words. Who the fuck is that guy? You know what I mean? I believe Harlem Eubank, with the name that he's got, Eubank, he should be fighting at least bigger names. Come on, bro. Do you know what I mean? 19 wins, no losses. You should be fighting bigger names. You should be fighting names, do you know what I mean, that will bring you a lot of cash flow.
Yeah.
That will give you a bigger name, that will give you a bigger audience, do you know what I mean? Because man's only got about 30-something thousand followers on his Instagram. How?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? How? This is 2024. You got influencers, YouTubers that are not even professional boxers. Look at Misfits. They got more followers than both of these guys combined. Do you know what I mean? And these guys are pro boxers. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe they need to start speaking to the team and say, yo, what's going on my social media, bro? You get me? Yeah. Man's don't even know me, bro. You get me? Yo, H and Darkside are trying to do videos on me. They don't even know what's going on, bro. They don't know what to say. But nah, I believe this fight here is going to be a walk in the park for Harlem Eubank. This is a warm-up fight. This is a warm-up fight between Harlem and Nurali. And after this fight here, I believe they're going to feed. No, I wouldn't say feed. Let me take that back. They're going to give Harlem and Adam Azim the next fight, which I believe Adam Azim will smoke Harlem. But yes, that's why I took the word back, feed, you know what I mean? But yeah, quickly, Ross, I've rambled on a bit. Let me hear your thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, my thoughts on this fight are not very much, to be honest. As he said before, Harlem Eubank doesn't carry very much power. He's also not that technical. But what I will say is he is more technical than he has power.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. But on the other hand, the opponent he's fighting, Erdogan, I think they purposefully picked this opponent as maybe like just a little filler between now and the time when they get the Adam fight on. Because if you look at the guy's profile and you look at the guy's record, you're not building anything with your career with a fight like that. I mean, normally most UK fighters, when they've had about 18, 19 fights, they're somewhat closing on European titles and towards French world level at around about that time.
Look at Hamza Shiraz. I mean, that's a prime example. Look at him.
Exactly. And he's had around 20 fights now, and he's now world champion. So it's going to be an interesting fight, but I think it was purposely picked as just a filler, and I think it's going to be a pretty easy fight for Harlem Eubank. Unfortunately, based on the fact that both of them don't have very much power, it's probably going to be like end up on a points decision of some sort. But I will give it to Harlem Eubank, as I've never really seen Erdogan fight before. So I can from what I've seen. But
a few clips, man, ain't nothing special, man. I've seen better fighters in my amateur club. You know what I mean? So it's nothing special, believe me. Yeah, it's nothing that's gonna get you excited, bro. You know what I mean? It's not a climax, that is. No, but sorry, you were saying, sorry, Ross, I interrupted, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just sort of a closing statement about the fight. I just think it's going to be, like you said, pretty much a walk in the park for Harlem Eubank. And it's just a filler fight until they can get the fight on with Adam Azim, which is the fight which they really should be having at this time. So it would make sense if they were just doing this as a filler, because Adam Azim, like you said, he's injured, so he needs some extra time. So maybe they're just keeping him busy, which I always believe in boxing is one of the most important things, is that you always stay active no matter what. Even if you are fighting a guy who's had 16 wins, 3 losses, and only 1 by knockout, it's better than not fighting anybody at all.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely do agree. I mean, ring rust is real. I mean, I might go off topic a bit, but we saw what happened on the weekend with John Jones and Stipe. Stipe was inactive for 3.5 years. And now he's come back against John Jones, and boom, what happened? You saw what happened. But anyways, you're right. You must stay active. In order for you to be on point on your game, you've got to be active. And this fight here, like you said, you mentioned a great point. It doesn't bring nothing for Harlem Eubank. what's it bringing for him? Is it bringing him closer to a title shot? No. Is it going to get him a big money back? Is this a big money fight? No. Is this a grudge match? No. It's just a random guy they've picked from France. Do you know what I mean? It's just a warm-up fight. Like, yeah, man, here, take this guy, get warmed up. You know what I mean? Get your joints moving. You know what I mean? Show Adam Azim what you're about. You know what I mean? So I feel like this fight here is ultimately just that one step closer to Adam Azim, because who knows what the case was behind the scenes. We don't know if Adam Azim was really and truly injured. We don't know if Harlem Eubank was ducking him. Who knows what it was? But maybe this might be the fight before that fight. But ultimately, I am gonna look past this fight. I don't normally do this. I don't normally do this, but I am gonna look past this fight, and I'm gonna look past this fight and just look at Harlem Eubank and Adam Azim. I want to see that fight get made. No disrespect to Nurali, no disrespect to him, but bro, let's not lie to ourselves, innit? You get me? You're gonna get smoked today. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Harlem Eubank, Adam Azim. Let's make that fight happen next. And it's crazy because it's crazy. I'm talking like this before this fight has even happened yet. This fight is about a couple of days away. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. But yeah, man, that's the way I see it. Bosh.
That's a wrap. Well, everyone, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Saved by the Bell podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.
Bosh.